Welcome to Liverpool fans. Today we've got the latest updates of your beloved club Liverpool. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of breaking news. Let's get started. After the 3-0 humiliation by Nottingham Forest, Liverpool sack Arne and bring back Jürgen Klopp in a dramatic Anfield twist. The rain had not stopped falling at the City ground, but it was not the weather that haunted Liverpool that night. It was the scoreline glowing like an unforgiving scar on the stadium screen. Nottingham Forest. 3-0 Liverpool. The final whistle pierced through the cold air, sealing one of the most humiliating defeats in the club's modern history. Players stood frozen, supporters stared in disbelief. Arne, standing on the touchline with his hands resting on his hips, looked like a man who already knew what was coming. Liverpool did not just lose a game that night. They lost control of their direction, their belief, and, in the eyes of many, their identity. The match itself was a collapse. Nottingham Forest, aggressive and fearless, pressed high and broke forward with sharp discipline. Liverpool, by contrast, looked disconnected. The defence was slow, the midfield disorganised, and the attack completely silenced. Each goal Nottingham Forest scored felt heavier than the last, not because of the score, but because of what it revealed. A Liverpool side without rhythm, without confidence, and without leadership. By the time the third goal hit the back of the net, even the most loyal fans had buried their faces in their scarves. The cameras captured Arne expression, tight, pale, and painfully aware. He applauded the away supporters as he walked toward the tunnel, but the applause from the stands was faint. The message was clear. The patience had run out. Inside the dressing room, the atmosphere was suffocating. No one spoke. Boots lay scattered across the floor. Some players sat with their heads in their hands. Others stared into nothing. Slot stood in front of them and tried to summon words of encouragement, but every sentence felt hollow, echoing in an empty space where belief once lived. Later that night, while Liverpool's team bus moved slowly through the darkness, a different kind of storm was gathering, one inside the Anfield boardroom. Emergency meetings were called. Owners, directors, senior advisors, and sporting executives dialed in from different parts of the world. The conversation was short, brutal, and unavoidable. It was no longer about process or trusting the vision. It was about survival, sporting, emotional, and political. The truth was simple. Liverpool were sinking. Arne arrived with dreams of evolution, of building his own version of the club's legacy. But football at Anfield does not exist on patience alone. It survives on passion, results, and connection. And those three elements had faded too quickly. The players no longer responded to his methods. The crowd no longer saw themselves in the football on the pitch. Something had to change. Then, in the silence of the room, one name broke through like a long-forgotten song. Jürgen Klopp. At first, it felt impossible. Klopp had said goodbye. He had walked away after years of glory, tears in his eyes, Anfield in his heart. No one had genuinely believed he would return so soon. And yet, in that painful moment of desperation, his name carried something no other name could offer. Hope. One call was made. Then a second. Conversations stretched into the early hours of the morning. On the other side of the line was a man who had tried to step away from the pressure of football, a man who had given everything and left part of his soul in Liverpool. At first, Klopp resisted. He spoke of rest, of mental health, of moving forward. But then he watched the highlights of the Forest game. He saw the empty spaces between the lines, the slow transitions, the defeated body language, the silence of Anfield that had replaced its usual roar. And within him, something old began to burn again. "This club is bleeding," he reportedly said, "and I know its heartbeat." By dawn, the decision was made. At precisely 6 a.m., Liverpool Football Club released a statement that shook the world. Liverpool FC has parted company with head coach Arne with immediate effect. We thank him for his efforts and professionalism. The club can now confirm that Jürgen Klopp has agreed to return as Liverpool manager. Phones rang non-stop. Social media exploded. News channels interrupted their programming. Across the globe, Liverpool fans could barely believe their eyes. Some cried, others laughed. Many simply whispered the same words again and again. He's back. Klopp is back. By mid-morning, crowds began to gather outside Anfield. Red scarves lifted into the sky. Old chants rose with new life. A familiar energy returned to the air, the kind that had been missing for far too long. When Klopp's car finally arrived at the AXA training centre, the gates were surrounded by fans singing, "You'll never walk alone." He stepped out slowly, taking in the sight, his face an emotional mixture of joy, disbelief, and responsibility. He placed his hand over his heart, the same heart that had never truly left. Inside, players waited in silence. When he walked into the room, the reaction was instant. Eyes widened, faces softened. Even the most experienced stars felt like children again, standing before the man who once made them believe they were unstoppable. Klopp spoke with pure honesty. "I didn't plan to return this way, but when Liverpool calls, you don't ignore it. This club is not a job for me, it is family, and today we begin again." Training changed immediately. The slow tempo disappeared. The air filled with intensity. High-pressing drills, fast-passing patterns, aggressive transitions. Klopp demanded communication, movement, hunger. He pushed them, shouted, laughed, encouraged. The pitch once again became a battlefield of passion. He reintroduced the identity that had defined his era. Heavy metal football, rhythm, speed, fearlessness. But more than tactics, he restored belief. Journalists observing the sessions described it as if the entire training ground had been recharged by electricity. Every tackle was sharper, every sprint faster, every voice louder. Football felt alive again at Liverpool. In his first press conference after returning, Klopp faced the cameras and said the words that would echo around the world. "This is not about the past. This is about the future. We suffered. Now we fight. And Liverpool always fights together." The road ahead remains long and filled with challenges. Points must be regained. Confidence must be rebuilt. Trust must be healed. But one truth now stands above all. Liverpool has found its soul once more. Anfield no longer feels empty. The silence is gone. The belief is back. And on the touchline, with his familiar smile and fiery eyes, stands the man who refuses to let Liverpool fall.